Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Rugby Paper Roundup. I'm your host Charlie. I'm joined by Cam, as I often am. Cam, how you doing? I seem to rhyme all the time when I say
Yeah,
that. I've just done it again, but yeah, Cam, how are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you. Very well. Yeah, final auditions for the Lions coming up tomorrow morning. Another stacked day of rugby. So yeah, looking forward to that.
Yeah, I tell you what, I could get used to watching rugby in the morning and having a full day ahead of me, and like other rugby games. That has been quite an enjoyable feature of the Lions tour.
It's perfectly staggered as well, especially tomorrow. Like if we start at like 4 in the morning, obviously Fiji, Scotland, and then you've just got games throughout the day up until nearly midnight with England, Argentina. So yeah, it's pretty perfect 2 weeks.
Yeah, and it's set up pretty nicely in terms of the Lions with them playing a pretty tough team in the Australia New Zealand Invitational. It's a strong lineup, I tell you. I actually when I saw that fixture on the fixture list originally, I didn't think it would be as strong a lineup as they've actually managed to put together. But yeah, good side.
Yeah, they got some good names in there. As you say, it's sort of perfect timing for the Lions, right? You sort of want your hardest warm up game to be the week before the first test, so you can iron out anything. And there's a few issues to iron out for the Lions, so hopefully this is a sort of get it right game ahead of the first test. But yeah, there's lots of big names in that side. You got Korobedi and Pete Samu, and lots of other superstars with loads of international caps. So it'll definitely be a good test for Lions who need to fix up on some things, particularly the start to games. But I think every tour down under they've conceded a try within the first 10 minutes and gone behind in quite a few of them. So that's definitely one area that needs to sort itself out, and there's sort of the perfect chance to do it.
Yeah, and I mean, just in general, it just seems like there's a lot of mistakes on the ball. Not they weren't strong at the breakdown at all. Obviously, Andy Farrell was asked about that, but yeah, it's a weird one, the Lions so far, because they've shown plenty of flashes and enough flashes that you could be confident that they can piece something together. But it's just still not quite consistent enough. But again, that comes with time. But we've been saying that the whole time. So will it come with time? I don't know, but yeah.
You're never going to expect sort of an 80-minute performance from a squad that's never really played together. We're only sort of 5 games into the tour, but you'd expect it to start shaping up a lot more than it has. I mean, the last 2 games especially have been pretty scrappy. So this one needs to be a much more polished performance. And there's still obviously test spots up for grabs, particularly in the centres and the back rows. It's a pretty important game, and as we said, against the best warm up side they'll play all tour. So really big game tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I was slightly worried about the fact that it doesn't seem like there's not really a strongest 15, strongest 23, but obviously we've got that interview with Hugo Monye that's on the rugby paper now, and he said that that's actually a good thing in that it means that there's still spots up for grabs. Which, do you know what? In hindsight, I can see, but yeah, I was gonna go into this video saying like that it's a worry that you know Andy Farrell doesn't seem to have worked out his best 15/23, but actually, that quote from Hugo Monye has kind of changed my opinion, I guess.
I think he'll have a view in his head of what his best side is. I just don't think he'll have put it out on the pitch yet. And sort of like, why would you, right? He's definitely put combinations out in some of the games that he'll have in the first test match. But why would you have your first test lineup playing in one warm up game? But he'll have definitely pieced things together. But as I say, I think this is definitely. I don't think he's decided fully on what his 23 is, and this will be a big chance for some people. I do think one big game from someone tomorrow could potentially slot them into the 23. I mean, Owen Farrell is one of them, especially if Kinghorn's missing in the first test. I think Owen Farrell, if he comes off the bench, and it'll be interesting to see where he plays. Obviously, with Marcus Smith on the bench as well, so you suspect he'll go into 12. And then if the Lions do go for a 6-2 split in the first test, he could be in that 23 jersey as cover for 10 and 12. So that'll be very interesting. Jack Morgan, another one who I don't think many people would have had as a test starter going into the tour, but he's really put his hand up, and if he has another good game, I think he might start at 7. You know, why not? You mentioned the breakdown was a mess the other day with, I can't remember the back row exactly, but you know, Tom Curry was in there, Jack Conan was in there, and it was still a mess. So that's definitely a spot up for grabs as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And Farrell is a really interesting one. I don't think we've done a video since he's been in the Lions, but it did seem like a strange but justifiable selection, I would say. Like strange in the sense that obviously replaced Elliot Daly without actually replacing any of his positions, but justifiable in the fact that he replaced Elliot Daly in the sense of leadership. So yeah, and like you say about the final game being massive, I mean, we saw it with the squad being selected, how much recency plays into it. Because if you did the squad over the last 4 years as a collective, quite a few of the players, I mean, Henry Pollock for one, like just wouldn't be there. But yeah, given that he had a strong end to the season, so yeah, recency is huge. I agree with you on that, and yeah, I think Farrell is giving himself a good chance if he plays well. I think he might be slightly off of the 23 for the first test, but I think he might play himself into it, or not even play himself into it, but find himself into it for the second, possibly third.
It'll just
Yeah.
be interesting to see what role he plays tomorrow. You know, how early he comes on. Obviously, dependent on what the situation of the game is. If it's a close game, does he, come on at 10 and Marcus Smith is kept in a fullback spot, or does he come on at 12? And, either Tuipulotu shifts to 13 or it's straight swap for Tuipulotu. So it'd be very interesting to keep an eye on. And then when he does come on, does he goal kick as well? There's lots of questions. To definitely probably the biggest talking point for me tomorrow, selection wise. But yeah, it'll be a good test. It'll be a very good test. And as we said at the start, final audition. Final audition.
Yeah, no, a very good final audition as well. I mean, we might as well finish off on that one. But what do you reckon the score's going to be?
So even though the Lions have been disjointed past couple of games against sides that lack a lot more quality than the Invitational side will, I think you'll see problems with that Invitational side in the sense that they're also a team that has never played together. Lots have obviously played together in partnerships, but that team has just come together and never played. So I think you'll see a lot of disjointed rugby for them. You'll see some brilliant rugby at times. Obviously, I think it will be semi-Barbars-esque. And I think this Lions side, especially some of these combinations, in the back row and Tuipulotu and Hugh Jones, I think that will be more than enough for the Lions. I think I can see the Lions winning by 20, to be honest, just because I think it will be pretty disjointed from the Invitational side.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think it'll be a weird one to watch for Invitational side and just see how they link up together. But I think it all depends on whether the Lions go pragmatic and sort of play it as if it's a test game, or whether they
Oh, they
do.
will.
Do,
They
do
will.
you think they'll go
I really
pragmatic? Yeah, and not
I
try
mean,
and.
we're a week out from the first test. Like, I don't think I think it's time to start really nailing down the basics and defensive focus, set piece focus. I think they'll really want to strangle this side. So I think they will treat it like a test match, and I think, given the disjointed nature that's expected to be from that Invitational side that's been put together, I think we'll see. I'd hope to see the Lions sort of strangle them and keep them to minimal points and sort of just win the arm wrestle, basically.
Yeah, and I think if they do that, then they'll come out relatively comfortable winners. But yeah, if they do try and be expansive and work on the kind of playmaking, I guess, issues and the quick ball issues that they've sort of had here and there, like then yeah, it could be a tighter game and potentially loads of points flying across the board. But yeah, I do probably agree that they're more likely to go pragmatic, given obviously it's a week until the test. But yeah, I think quite a big Lions win is on the cards.
Yeah,
But
agreed.
yeah, and obviously plenty of internationals over the weekend just from countries. Wales a big one, 18 match loss record. That is
It still
quite
doesn't
quite
sound right
something. I
when you
believe
say it.
it's got to be the biggest ever.
It doesn't. It
Yeah,
still doesn't
it's
sound
it's
right
got to
when you
be the
say
biggest
it.
ever from a tier one.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Um, 18
Yeah,
in a row is just crazy. I mean, the way they blew it last week as well. Obviously, lots has been made of the weather out there and hot and sticky, and then blowing the lead in the second half. It's got to end tomorrow. It just does. It can't be a thing hanging over them going into November, where it's, potentially gets to 20 as they play Argentina at the first game in the internationals. It's got to end. I think it will. To be honest, I like some of the changes they've been made for this week as well. Archie Griffin starting at tight head, and Gloucester's Freddie Thomas coming into the second row. Obviously, Faletau out injured, but I think this is Roof will be closed as well, so I think that will help Wales a touch. But I think it'll end tomorrow. I just can't see them doing what they did last week, because they were the better side for the first half by a mile. I think that's not going to happen 2 weeks in a row.
no, yeah, I don't know. I honestly think it probably can happen, given that it's Wales and given that it's. I think mentality is such a big thing, and if you've gone on an 18-match losing record, like, your mentality has got to be in the absolute pits, and you've got to be doubting everything you do, second guessing, and even if you haven't been involved in a large number of those games, I know there's a lot of young players that haven't really been involved in the 18 games, but I just think there's just a culture there right now based off of losing and off of the fact that they've lost so many times. That I mean, as Mick McCarthy said, it can, and it can. I think.
It's such a weird one, because
Yeah. So I actually.
there's one half of me that really wants them to win, just to sort of break the narrative, and as a young team, as you said, just get a win. Like, they have to. They've been through enough. And then there's the other part of me, the English part, that's let's get one more on the streak, two more on the streak. Let's just keep it going. Because it's miserable, right? It's completely miserable for them. It's the worst patch they've ever had. It's the worst patch any Tier 1 side has ever had. So I'm sort of torn. I think the English side is sort of coming out at me more. 19 in a row would be pretty crazy. And then they've sort of got to sit there for a few months and not play, and they can't rectify it. But I do think they'll get over the line tomorrow. You never know, though. You never know.
Yeah, you definitely never know. And I mean, like you said earlier, it's not a tough autumn for them, and then it's the Six Nations. So it's like, if they don't win this game, like, you struggle to see the next. Possibly, obviously, Italy in the Six Nations, but Italy are a good side now. But you're struggling to see it not reaching, like, maybe 25 or getting close to 30, really.
Well, I think
If
they've
not
got
today
Japan
or
at
tomorrow.
home in November, don't they? They've got Japan at home in November, second
Oh, do
game.
they?
Yeah. So I think you'd
Oh,
think
yeah.
they've got to win either tomorrow or that game. But I mean, in terms of against a Tier 1 side, where does it come from? Even if they win tomorrow, I still don't see really where it comes from. I mean, they're not going to be this bad forever, right? They will turn it around at some point. Probably not anywhere close to where they're expecting or want to be, but they will. They will win some games at some point. They just have to. I think it will start tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I completely missed that Japan game on the fixture list, so that's what I was working on the assumption of. But if they've got them at home, then yeah, it could end sooner than heading up to 30. Maybe I was being a bit dramatic then. But yeah, I mean, onto England. Very, very, very good result last week. Surprised a lot of people, me especially, with how they played and just the result and how comfortable it was. I mean, yeah, obviously second test against Los Pumas
Yeah.
tomorrow. Yeah, big game, and yeah, what do you reckon about
Well, I mean, just on last week, if you take away that loss against the England XV versus France XV, that's 5 wins in a row for England now. And, in that is that last ditch win over France at home, and the record win over, obviously Wales are in the mud at the minute, but record win in Cardiff, and then that win last week in La Plata. It's been a good run for England at the moment. And last week, I don't. Obviously, second half was more impressive, but that first half, given the amount of penalties they gave away, and they were all disciplined, 2 yellow cards, and down to 13 at one point. To go into the second half with a lead was incredible. I mean, some of the defence in that first half, I don't know how many held up over the lines there were, but it was incredible. And then second half, as soon as they got back to 15, came out firing. I mean, shout out Tom Willis as well. Just
What a player.
phenomenal. What a player. I saw a stat. Is the second most combined tackles and carries that a tier 1 player has had since, I think it was Opta started recording data. I believe it was 40, and he obviously only played 60 minutes. I mean, what a player. I think it was 9 defenders beaten as well. Just he is built for test matches. He played excellent. And yeah, same team again, pretty much, apart from the injured Slade for Northmore, which surprised me a little bit. Obviously, been a lot of clamour about, no Max Ajomo and no Ted Hill in either of those match day squads. So that one did surprise me a little bit. But yeah, if they can replicate that performance last week and go 2 for 2 in Argentina, that'll be very, very impressive for a tour that many didn't expect to win for England across both games. So hopefully they can replicate it and maybe even improve their discipline. And then we made it hard for ourselves last week, discipline wise, and still won 35-12. So there's definitely a lot more room for improvement, which is exciting going into this week.
Yeah, and I mean on the Ajomo situation, maybe he's just waiting to play him against America and just like unleash him because obviously it would be a risk whoever they played because all 3 of the 13s were uncapped, so it would have been an uncapped player coming in for Slade. But maybe he wants to kind of go as close to like for like with Slade because I'd say Northmore's closer to Slade in terms of how he plays than Ajomo. So maybe he's done that and then he's going to go wholesale changes, Ted Hill, Ajomo, the like for the USA game where obviously there's less pressure and it is on paper an easier game, let's be honest. So I think that might be his thinking behind it, but I don't know. Borthwick does seem to like to keep similar players in like as replacements. So I think it is trademark him in that sense, and yeah, I'll trust his judgment because he's got a lot of credit in the bank at the minute. Like you say, 5 in a row and beat Argentina in Argentina. So yeah, fair bit of credit in the bank. So yeah,
it does make sense. I wonder if England had lost that first test, if he'd have made more changes or was planning to make more changes. But given the way they played, why would you make changes? They've earned their spot in the second test, and as you say, Northmore is slightly more of a like for like for Slade than Ajomo is. So yeah, it does make sense. It does make sense. It'd be interesting to see Northmore go as well. Been a long time coming, to be fair. He's been in a lot of training squads and camps, so good to see him get his chance.
Yeah, 28 now as well, which is quite a late age for a debutant.
That's all I thought. Actually, that surprised me. Yeah.
It surprised me when I saw it. I thought it was maybe 25, 26 or something.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I feel like we've reached the end. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
Don't think so. Nothing pressing. Let's say big game for the Lions. Final audition. Wales to end the streak and hopefully England to sweep Argentina.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're hoping for. Apart from Wales ending the streak, I would quite like it to continue.
I'm not hoping for that. I think that'll happen.
Fair enough. Well, anyway, thank you everyone for watching, and make sure to like and subscribe. See you next week for some more rugby content.